Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the IS-4. It's a Tier 10 Soviet heavy tank. It's located on the south spawn of Siegfried Line under command of Orange's Toxis. And he loaded rather late into the game, but he's finally active. Well, this tank came about because the IS-3 was quite a bit of a disappointment when they first built it, because it had no end of problems and it wasn't as powerful as most people thought. It looked powerful, but that's about all it was good at, looking good, when it actually wasn't. So the Soviets went back to the drawing board, and they already had a design from 1944 called the IS-4, and that's what this is. In fact, it was basically a development of the IS-2. So it was a beefier IS-2, you might say. Much more armour and a much tougher tank. So the IS-3 looked tough but wasn't actually. This thing kind of looked like an IS-2, but it was actually even tougher still. Now it has the same D25T gun, which is a 122mm, capable of 440 alpha, and it will penetrate 258mm of armour with standard rounds. It's also got a standard reload of 11.03 seconds. You can see here that Orange's Toxis has got it down to 9.28. Now it's basically the same gun as the ST1, and it's also got a very good armour profile, as well as a very large hit pool. It's got a fairly good top speed. It's not great, it's only 43 kilometers an hour, but it's a tough tank. As you can see, the turret looks very much like the IS-6, the flat turret of the kind of Defender shape, but the hull is much bigger and is much more like a IS-2 from the front. Well, he took around from the IS-2 too there, and he fires one back in, gets a high roll. I think if you look at the front of this tank, you can say immediately that that's an IS-2 turret, or IS-2 profile for the armour. Of course, the IS-2 was used in combat during the war, but the IS-3 was just a little too late, and they shipped a load of them to the victory parade just to frighten the Allies. Well, he's got his first kill. That was the IS-2 too. Now he's going after the Object 260. And didn't penetrate it there. Now, one thing immediately you'll notice about the IS-4 is it hasn't got the pike nose. Instead, it's got stepped armour in front of the driver, which actually makes it quite a lot bit tougher. A lot tougher. And there you go, he's got the 260. It's not a tank that a lot of people actually regularly use, which is surprising, because they tend to go for the other tanks, the other heavy tanks that from the Soviet line, like the IS-7 instead, or the ST. It's got 250mm of armour on the front of the turret, 155 on the front of the hull. You can see the way he just went straight through a 60 TP. He is using the premium ammo though, the heat rounds, and yep, they are capable of doing 340mm of armour, which is obvious the way they can just punch their way through. Now, what was different about the IS-4 from the IS-2 is it incorporated a lot of the German technology the Soviets captured when they invaded Germany. They finally got to look at what the Germans were working on, and this tank actually incorporated a lot of the things that the IS-3 just didn't have. It had a rear transmission system as well, 2 big fuel tanks on the rear, and 2 internal ones as well. So it's not just those fuel tanks, and they also had a smoke generator as well, which would pump out a massive amount of fog diesel, or diesel fog I should say, which would actually conceal it from the enemy. They produced between 200 and 250 of them, between 1947 and 1949. The design was on the drawing board in 1944 during the war, but they just didn't have enough time to actually manufacture them, so that's why they just didn't get produced. When they were produced, the Soviets had an abundance of heavy tanks, and they were still working on the T-10 at that time, so instead they decided to send the IS-4s off to the Far East theatre. So they actually were on the border opposing the Chinese when the Soviets and the Chinese weren't particularly happy with each other. So it was actually protecting that part of the Soviet Empire. It was a bit sluggish in some ways. I did say at the start that it had very good speed, but it was a little sluggish for a heavy tank. But it was used. I mean, you could use it. There's only one left, and it's actually in Kubinka, and I'll show you a picture of that later. It's sitting right next door to the Object 704. In fact, the true name of this tank was the Object 701, so they weren't that far apart in design. Name, by the way. Okay, Skoda T56, and he goes down, but he doesn't go down to us. It was the AMX CDA 105 who got that guy. So there's only 4 enemies left, 4 left on his team. Let's see if RNG as Toxis can take them down. 3 kills already. He's going to go after the Ferdinand, I think. Either that or he's going to try and get that GSOR. Where are you? Oh, he's found the enemy ST1 and blew that one apart as well. One shot. Oh, here comes the GSOR. Unfortunately, he's unloading all 4 of his shells. And remember, those things can do 1,280 hit points from 4 shots. He's got the potential to do them. And 1 round into his rear, and he's out the game as well. So it's a pretty useful tank. There's only 2 enemies left, facing 3. On our side. Oh, we just found one. It was the Ferdinand. He's actually on the other side of the gates. Remember, we just took out the GSOR. There are the Ferdinand has gone down and taken out by the Scorpion G, but we've still got 1 enemy out there, which means he's got the potential to get a Top Gun, but he's just got to locate the Charfu 204. Last seen out in the field, and yes, there he is. He is up there. 1 round that goes in, but it's a low roll, 406. He's going to need 2 shots to take the guy down at least. Oh, it looks like our teammate just got a hit, in which case he might be a 1-shot now. We're loaded and ready to shoot him, but he's probably in reload himself at the moment. As you know, the Charfu 204 does have a long reload. There he is. Oh, he muffed it up. Okay, can he get close? It's going to need at least 2 shots still. Here he comes. It's coming up. Yes, that's 1. But low roll again. He's still not a 1-shot. He might get another one in here. Nope, ricocheted off. And that's amazing because the Charfu 204 does not have much in the way of armor. He could have rammed him there and then shot him, and that would have given him the easy kill, but oh, he misses out on the Top Gun because the kill was stolen away by the Object 430. He must have realised that he was on a Top Gun. Oh well. Here's the end of the first battle, and that was an ace tanker for RNG as Toxis in the IS-4. You got a hand of God for surviving the battle, having received damage from 4 different enemy tanks, a bruised medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He got 10. He got a demolition expert because he blew up one of the enemy tanks, as well as getting a duelist for taking down 2 tanks that damaged him, a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. He ended up with 5, 1/3 of the enemy team, 1 short of a Top Gun, and 5 for effect for doing more damage than hit points to his own vehicle. He did get a steel wall for blocking the most damage in that game, and also a high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game. Let's have a look at the team score and see where he stands. Well, he definitely got the highest damage in the game with 6,867, the next high scorer being the E75 with 5,147, and the third highest score was the ST1 that he took out, 4,139. When it came to kills, he had the highest number of those, but he shared the top spot with the STB1. He had 5 kills as well. Third place was the ST1 on the enemy team. He took that guy out, 4 kills for him. And when it came to base XP, yes, he's easily got that with 1,450. The second highest scorer being the E75 of 1,181, and those were the only 2 players who managed to make it over 1,000. He fired 25 rounds, got 22 direct hits and 17 penetrations, damage of 6,867 hit points, of which 406 were at more than 300 meters. I think those were the shots on the chart for you, 2 or 4. 15 hits received from the enemy, 5 of those penetrated, 10 non-penetrations, and 1,960 hit points of damage blocked by armor. From some angles, it's very difficult to pen this tank simply because the armor is so well built up in the right places. 3 enemy vehicles were spotted, 8 enemy vehicles were damaged, 5 killed, 1,069 hit points of damage assistance. He earned 68,368 credits from the game, 30,766 from battle payments, a total of 143,573 credits altogether, and after repair, ammunition resupply and consumables, he took away a profit of only 1,898, and that's down to the fact that he did fire quite a lot of premium ammo to make sure that he made short work of those enemy heavy tanks. 1,450 XP, 6,500 from personal mission payout, 326 for playing the platoon, took away 9,001 experience points altogether. So that's the first battle in the IS-4. We've got 2 more replays for you to watch. Let's see how he gets on in replay number 2. The second battle is on the south spawn of Pearl River, and this time round RNG's Toxis is platooned with Yanni 0000. At least I think that's his name. He's in an IS-4 as well. That makes him easier to identify. There he is. Yannis, I think it is, not Yanni. Anyway, getting back to the battle. As I said, they produced between 200 and 250. They don't know how many in total they did actually produce, because I don't think the Soviets actually have a definitive number. Obviously, they produced spares as well as other parts to the IS-4, so some of the parts actually were used for repair. They were produced at the Kirov plant, which was the same place where a lot of the Soviet heavy tanks were made, and they were producing the IS-3s at the same time. A lot of the IS-4s actually were sent to be upgraded and became IS-4Ms after they were taken out of the factory. And the same thing happened to the IS-3, funnily enough. They also took those out and modified them straight away, so they didn't go straight out of the factory onto the battlefield. There wasn't a war at the time. They actually just went straight back into another factory to be modified. Now, something that's unusual about the IS-4, which most people don't actually notice, is that it's got 2 radiator fans on the engine deck. And that was one of the modifications which they put onto the Soviet tanks, which they got from the German development. So it was an advanced cooling system for the Soviet engines. As I said, it was a V12 engine as well, not the V2 engine you saw in some of the other versions of the Soviet tanks. Trying to get a shot on that E100. Oh, that one didn't work. He did get a good pen on the front. As you can see there, he's got the heat ammo loaded. But so long as he actually holds himself in that position with his turret on that angle, it's very difficult to get through. Now he can get him. Now he can get him. Oh, but he's not ready to shoot. Now he can. Well, he got one in. It's a low roll, 424. Just pick your moment when you get the shot in. Yes, and another one right in the same spot. So 3 big holes in the E100 front turret. And another one. He's certainly stripping that E100 of his health. Okay, Heshbon gets a high roll for 489. The enemy seems to be doing rather well over that side, but he can't get a shot on the Viz-55. He can get a shot on that Superconk though, and he gets a high roll. Okay, looks like he's going to have to hold this corner. We're pushing them back elsewhere. Oh! Didn't penetrate the Superconqueror there. Now he's in a bit of a problem because he's being attacked from at least 2 tanks. Superconqueror takes 1 hit. He's now 1 shot. We've still got enough health to keep going. 1 more in. Yes, got him. Straight through the front. This is an absolute maelstrom of shells. Rhino Sorrente. He's got to watch out to his left because there's a couple of tanks there that could get round behind him. Having to flick his view to the left every now and then just to check and see if they're moving. That CS-63 is a little further away. He's actually in the pass near the village. It's just that Viz-55. He's still very close. And he's not the only one. A Cramvan's there as well. And here comes the Rhinoceronte. Oh, it's not. It's the Viz-55. They swapped. That's why it went silent for a moment. And he's blocked another shot from the Viz-55. Arty's firing in this direction as well. I think the captain or the commander of the Viz-55 must have said, swap positions. Okay, can he get a shot into the Cranbon? No, didn't get through, even though he hit the weak side armour. They've switched position again. He fires one into the Viz and he doesn't get a pen. And now we've got the Rhinoceronte in front of us. It's loaded. Oh, yes, he takes down the Rhinoceronte. But he did take a hit. But it was only, well, it was a non-penetrating shot anyway. But now we've got a problem because we've got a T110E3 with a 750 Alpha bearing down on us, as well as that ST1. He didn't get through the armour there. But he blocked the shot that came from the T110E3. He's blocked a shot from the Cranbon and the ST2. That one hit the tracks, but now it's the T110E3's chance to take him down. He blocked another shot, but the ST2 got one in. He turns his turret, takes care of the ST2, but he's now got the T110E3 in his side, and that's normally fatal. Unless he can get alongside that guy, because of course his gun only points one way. And he takes the T110E3 down, but he can't take the Cranvan down as well at the same time. So he gets one free shot, which then kills Orange's Toxis. His platoon mate is still in operation. He's got enough hit points to deal with that Cranvan. Only 3 tanks left on either side. And it's identical in capacity as well, because they've got a Cranvan, a CS-63 and a T-92, whilst we've got the IS-4, the Progetto and the GWE-100. That CS-63 managed to dash into a position where he was safe, but now he's looking down on the IS-4. The armour blocked, and oh, here comes the Cranvan. Focus on the Cranvan. You've got an easy shot on him. Oh, he missed it. Go after that Cranvarn. Oh, and the Arty does get him in the end. So now 2 versus 2 because the enemy was taken, or one of the enemy was taken down. Their Cranvarn was wiped, or was it? No, it wasn't their Cranvarn that was wiped out, but he is wiped out now. So there's only one enemy left now. It's the T92 HMC. Our Progetto's still in action. He's nearby, so we should be able to get some shots into the T92, finish him off and win the game. That's one. Unfortunately, we can't follow the battle at the moment. Could try and solve that. But we don't need to because the battle's over. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was an ace tanker game for IS-4 in the IS-4. He managed a spotter badge for spotting at least 1,000, a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits, he got 6, a duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him, a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills, he ended up with 4 only, I'm afraid, in this one, but he did do a lot of damage, and he got a fire for effect for doing more damage than the hit points for his own vehicle. We look at the team score. We can see that he did get the highest damage in the game, but he didn't get 20% of the enemy hit pool, and unfortunately that meant that he didn't get the high caliber. 5,934 hit points of damage, the second highest damage being the Cranvarn on the enemy team with 4,564, the guy who killed him, and the third highest damage was the T110E3 on his own team with 4,513. His platoon mate, who's also in the IS-4, it's Yanit Yad there, managed 2,162 hit points, but unfortunately he also got killed. When it came to kills, it was actually the Cranvarn on the enemy team did the best with 5 kills. 4 kills went to IS-4, 3 kills went to the T110E3 and also the T92 HMC on the enemy team. And when it came to base XP, it's IS-4 again. He got 1,300 out of that one. 1,070 went to the T110E3, 1,017 went to the VIS-55, and 1,006 went to the Super Conqueror. So 4 players were over 1,000 base, so the 4 players playing rather good on his team. He fired 24 rounds in this one, got 23 direct hits on the enemy, and 15 penetrations. Damage of 5,934 hit points, all of it at close range. 15 hits received from the enemy, 6 penetrations, 9 non-penetrations, and 1 hit by way of splash damage. 4,420 hit points of damage blocked by armor. 8 enemy vehicles were damaged, 4 were killed, 1,379 hit points of spotting assist. He earned 61,128 credits from this game, 27,508 from battle payments, a total of 128,369 credits altogether. But this time round, yes, he was firing premium ammo and a lot of it, and he actually made a loss of 37,342 credits. 1,300 XP, 293 for playing a platoon, took away 2,243 experience points altogether. So another win, another ace tanker for IS-4. Let's have a look in the third battle and see how it gets on in that one. But before we do that, we'll just quickly pop over and I'll show you the real IS-4, and that one is at Kubinka. And here it is, yes, the IS-4 sitting right next door to the 704 in one of the sheds in Kubinka. And you can see the design is very much like the IS-2. It's got the same sort of stepped front, not the pike nose, which obviously does deflect shells from certain angles. But this one, if you angle the tank as a whole, you're much better off. I suppose you can get shots in through those plates at the side next to the driver, but remember, you can see the extra armour right in front of the driver to actually assist him and protect him. They've put a whole wedge over there as well. The rest of the profile is very much like the IS-2 turret. It's quite a roomy tank as well. It's not cramped in there. And yes, it's a very big beast with 7 road wheels, or 7 pairs of road wheels either side. Well, the last of our 3 replays sees RNG as Toxis on the northeast spawn of Highway, and this time round he's got 2 platoon mates, Marto 0000 and Yanit 0000. Game on! Well, Marto is in the UDES 1516, whilst Yanit is... where is he? There he is, Jagdpanzer E100. Now the IS-2, yep, it does very much look like IS-2 on steroids with a slightly different turret, but it's a very useful tank, and I'm surprised that more people don't actually try to use this, because it is pretty devastating. Well, looks like we're going to the town. Marto's going to cover the area in the middle of the map. Okay, the enemy's already here. Cranvarn's the first one we spot, but I don't think he's the only one there. Yep, there's a Striv K, and he's side-scraping out to try and get his shots, but they are avoiding being seen at the moment. I kind of get the feeling the Cranvarn's going to come around that far end and try and pump 3 rounds into RNG before he can respond. Okay, squeezes out, takes a round into the tracks from TNH. Took 2 rounds actually, was it? 2? 1. Okay, so we're going to cover both bases because we're going one side and the E75 is going the other. And the T10, well, he's blocked from moving over because the KV4 is kind of in the way. Oh, and the Striv 4 is the Striv K rather, is the first one to take damage. Oh, and he's actually twisting that TNH all the way around. Gets a hit on the KV4, it's a high roll. Now he's going to work this corner and put the KV4 out of action. Tracked him. Go for the lower plate. Wait for the reload. Yep, no problem. Low roll, 418. IS-4. Didn't pen. You can see how well the angled armour works, but he managed to get that one under the shoulders of the IS-4. He's repaired his track. You can see where the heat round went in, just on those shoulders. Very easy to pen there if you've got enough pen, and he does have it with the heat rounds. No, he fired that one wrong. It actually went into the tracks just as the IS-4 was changing direction, and therefore he took a hit which he didn't need to take, but the IS-4 goes down anyway. Okay, now he's going to work the corner where the Cranvarn is. Hello, Mr. Cranvarn. In fact, considering he's got the rear of the guy and the sides, well, he'll easily penetrate him. Take that, QBs. And he's out the game. Okay, the Striv K's gone, which means now they've managed to kill all the guys in this side of the town. In fact, there's no enemy left on this in the town. So now he's got to move towards the enemy cap area. How is he going to handle this one? Well, I think they're just going down en masse altogether at the same time, which means the enemy will just pick their targets as they can. He stopped to take an accurate shot in the Striv 103B. Didn't pen. Now he is firing heat rounds, and remember that thing's got a guard across the front to stop the heat rounds doing damage. But it doesn't stop him getting hit on the side, and he goes down to the Progetto 66. Both of his platoon mates are still alive, but they swapped positions. Well, not really swapped positions, I suppose. The Jagdpanzer took up the centre place. The Janet 0000, whilst Marto has actually gone back to the cap area and is holding the north against the enemy incursion. In fact, our Skoda's now starting to make his way towards the enemy, just as much as we're pushing into their cap area. No Arty, so obviously we're not expecting them to respond. But there is a T-44, easily pens that one, 414.9 high roll. Bouncing around from the standard B, angling. That lovely angling, it just works not every time, but it certainly works if they aim at the wrong spots. If they try to go to the lower plates, obviously the nicely angled armour will prevent the shells from getting an easy pen. You really need to put a heat round through the shoulders if you want to get them from the front at the right angle. Oh, SU-130PM, and he didn't get a hit, but he's gone, and now trying to take down the Astron Rex. He's not going to continue capping. He's just obviously going to put the pressure on the enemy. One into the standard B, low roll 411, blocked the shot that came back at him. He is taking a round in the side from the enemy 121B, and that can be a bit of a problem. The standard B takes a high roll for 520, which makes him a one shot if he can get a high roll again. Now he's a one shot and easily pens that guy. Just turning around now to deal with that 121B, who is the biggest threat now. He blocked that shot, the 121. Go for it. Should get him this time. Yes, he got a hit, but it's a low roll. Now he's got the Leopard, and come on, that's standard. Oh! Couldn't get another kill. Here's the end of battle stats, and I'm afraid those last few shots which didn't pen, yes, he did get the standard B, he couldn't get the 121, even though the guy was driving almost perpendicular to him when he fired, and also the Leopard. He missed out the chance of getting both of those, and as a consequence he only got a first class tanker in this one. Oh dear. So 2 aces and a first class. He got a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He got 7. Got a 5 for effect for doing more damage than the hit points to his own vehicle, and a shell proof for blocking more damage than the hit points to his own vehicle. He got a Confederate for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else in his team. At least 6 tanks subsequently taken down by others, and he probably would have lost the Confederate if he had actually got more kills. He did get a steel wall for blocking the most damage in the game, and he got a high caliber in this one as well for dealing the most damage. Let's have a look at team score. Well, there you go. Look at that. The highest damage was 6,829. The second highest damage was the Batchat. I think it's at the 25. No, it's a Barask of all things. 4,284 hit points for him. This is a tier 10 game, so a tier 8 tank did rather well in this game. And the third highest damage in the game was Cranvon on his own team with 3,928. His own platoon mates, the Janet, managed to get 1,121 in the Jagdpanzer E100, and Marto managed to get 960 hit points in the UDES, but didn't get any kills. When it came to kills, it was the Baraska did the best with 5 kills, and we can see that Janet managed to get 2, so did RMG's Toxis, and of course the UDES didn't get any kills at all. And when it came to base XP, It's actually that Barask again, because he was tier 8, he was hitting higher tier opponents, adding up to a higher XP score. 1,376 went to him, 1,175 went to RNG's Toxis, and the third highest scorer was Cranvarn with 1,108, and those are the only 3 players who managed to make it over 1,000 XP, with Yannick getting 564 and Marto getting 505. RNG's Toxis fired 21 rounds. Every round hit the target, but only 16 of them penetrated. Remember, he was using premium ammo as well, heat ammo, to make sure he had the penetration to hit the enemy. 6,829 hit points of damage, of which 441 broke more than 300 meters. That was the shot on the Striv 103B. 12 hits received from the enemy, 2 penetrated, 10 non-penetrations. Again, it proves that the armor is very tough. If you angle it well enough, it will bounce enemy rounds from tier 8s, tier 9s, and even from tier 10s for that matter, because after all, he was getting shots on the IS-4 and penetrating him with the heat, whilst the IS-4 was having difficulty trying to get the return favour. 3,760 hit points of damage blocked by armor, 3 enemy vehicles spotted, 9 enemy vehicles damaged, 2 killed, 675 hit points of damage assistance. He earned 64,826 credits from this game, 29,172 from battle payments, a total of 136,135 credits altogether. And after repair, ammunition, respawn, consumables, he still made a profit on this one of 23,353 credits. 1,175 XP, 264 for playing the platoon, took away 2,027 experience points altogether. So I think you can tell from this, I rather like the IS-4 because basically it's an IS-2 on steroids. It's not only built like an IS-2 on the actual hull, but much stronger. But it's got the turrets basically that you would normally see on something like an IS-6. Or not an IS-7, because it's not like one of those. It's more like a defender turret on a IS-2 hull, but it's much more beefier all round. And I think you saw in that picture that I showed you that it does very much look like an IS-2 tank, even though it's not. So it's a very underrated tank, a very good tank, but it's not played very well by those people who do play it, because it has tremendous potential with the ability to angle and get rid of some of those shots. But I think the players who do play this one well know where to put the shell on the IS-4 to get the penetration, and so they can really do some serious racking up the scores on the enemy, even if they end up in a tier 10 game only. I hope you enjoyed all those 3 replays. If you did, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And please do remember we've got a second channel called The General, where you can watch great replays without any commentaries whatsoever. Thanks for watching.